Hello, everybody. Welcome to StraightA. Dawson here.
Two.
And that's Ben.
And welcome to week 5 for our NFL prediction video. As you see, we actually are missing someone. Trathan couldn't be here this week. I'll kind of keep his matters private, but he's going through something right now that he needs to address. And I'll be putting his picks in post edit, so we won't be talking about them, but we'll receive them and you'll see them on screen somewhere by Shu on the screen, or somewhere by Ben now, since whoever's on the bottom part of the screen, you'll see that it'll say Trathan's pick is blank, and we'll do it that way or something along those lines. Either way, kind of taking care of some preliminary business. On screen now, you'll see the 2023 NFL season prediction leaderboard going into week 5. Leading the pack is Kevin Walsh still with 47-17. Killing it. Holy crap. Like, he's been hitting these off games too. Like, he rarely makes a bad prediction that's outrageous of a team that doesn't win. So take that as you will. Wyatt's World 43-21, doing very solid himself. Trathan himself is 42-22, still doing very solid this week. And right behind him, actually, Shu is catching up in 4th place in 40-24. So two spots behind him. One spot behind Shu, we got Tom Grassi at 39-25, who's also making some low-key good predictions. The betting line is currently 38-26, so it's doing pretty well as well. And I'm tied with the betting line at 38-26 as well in 6th place. And Ben's not in dead last because TPS is joining him in the 8th spot with 37-27. So still right behind me, lipping at my heels, and the betting line. But things are things are starting to get a little bit closer as it progresses. So we'll see how week 5 with the first bye weeks kind of taking place, how that kind of changes. So anything to say, boys, or we're going to get started?
Let's get it going.
Let's get it going.
I'm going to keep my head in the same spot so my light does not blind the camera.
Well, that's good. But probably preferable. Let's make sure. I had a sneaky feeling I didn't start recording, but we're good. All right, first game up is the Thursday night game. I don't know whose idea was this for the Amazon primetime game, but the Bears at the Commanders. I'll start this one off. I think the Bears are winless. I think the Bears will continue to be winless until they face probably another team that I feel like is also very inconsistent with their play, either next couple weeks or next few weeks. But they'll win a game eventually, but it's not going to be against the Commanders, who actually look at least solid. I can't say they're the best team in the world. The Bears will definitely put up some kind of a fight, especially. But the Bears' offense can't handle a good defense, and the Commanders have a decent defense. And the Commanders' offense is inconsistent, but against the Bears' defense, I think they'll do fine. It'll be a boring kind of game, sluggish, I'm sure, but I'm going with the Commanders here.
Yeah, I'm taking the Commanders. The Bears had that lead against the Broncos last week and then just ended up blowing it. I saw it was either TikTok or something that said both teams lost that game because the Broncos could have just kept losing and they could have gotten Caleb Williams next year. The Bears lost the game, but they could get Caleb Williams at this point. So both teams are winning and losing at the end of that game.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Commanders as well. I was not given a pause like I was going to go with the Bears for some horrible reason. There's no way.
Yeah, I think they're kind of a team that we can't really count on at all right now. You got to bet against them until they show even the slightest bit of life, I guess. Beside the point, Shu, you're going to take this next one, which I think is going to be an exciting game, but it's in London still. The Jaguars are facing off against the Bills.
Yeah, it's in London. I don't think the Jaguars even came home this week, which makes me almost want to pick the Jags just because they're not going to be jet lagged, but I just can't pick against the Bills at this point. I got to go with the Bills.
You know, I think I'm probably going to agree. I'm going to go with the Bills. I know that the Jags seem like they always win in London. They proved me wrong last week, but I don't feel like they're going to be able to this week. The Bills are just on a roll right now.
Yeah, I'm inclined to say that Jaguars always do better in London, but I've seen that in the past couple games they actually don't perform amazingly in London. It is a very tempting pick, but the Bills are just so good right now, and obviously I don't want to spoil anything for the power rankings for these guys who haven't seen it at all yet, but the Bills are a team I feel like is getting contesting with the 4-0 teams, and saying they're going to get stopped right here by the Jags, who are kind of a inconsistent team, it would kind of be ridiculous. I want to pick the Jags, but the Bills are the clear favor here for me, so I'm going to go Bills. Moving
Can we
on.
just talk about that Toy Story game for a second? What was that? And why'd they have to pick the London game to do it? When it's already in Wembley Stadium where you don't see every week. And they go, yeah, now we're going to Toy Story it.
You
For
could
what?
still watch it. You could still watch it on ESPN or whatever regular channel it came on. The thing was that they did it on Disney Plus, trying to get kids acclimated. So I understand why they did the early 8 o'clock game, because think about like a 6 or 7 year old kid. They're gonna be up like that early in the morning. So it kind of makes sense in a way. I get it.
Oh, I think it's
When I
brilliant.
watched them, yeah, I watched both. I mean, I tried to watch the Toy Story one, and I guess they were having some issues, so they cut to the announcers for like an entire drive. So I left it to actually watch the football game. And then when I went back, it was the guy getting ejected, which was probably the funniest ejection I've seen in football ever, where the claw just came and just scooped him off the field and took him away.
I didn't see
But
that.
anyways, moving on.
No, I think it's really cool that they're doing that. I think it's a unique way. I think I've caught some like bits and pieces. I didn't watch like a large portion of it or anything, but like that was still fun to see that they were able to do that kind of stuff. Like that's unique. Me as a regular football fan kind of appreciates that. So I can only imagine getting kids into it. So I think it's a good idea from the NFL. I don't think it's like a ridiculous thing that I think they're shelling out too much or being sellouts. So that's my one man's opinion though. Moving on, Ben, you can take this one with the New Orleans Saints going to New England to face off against the Patriots. What's your thoughts?
Um, well, I mean, I think this is a kind of a tough game to predict. They seem like they're two really similar teams, with the main difference being you've got a real gunslinger at quarterback for one, versus more of a less mobile, I wouldn't say composed, but a pocket guy. Other, more conservative, I would say. At the end of the day, I will say that Gillette gives the Patriots the home field advantage. I'll side with New England on this one. I'm just not very sold on New Orleans at all at this point, and I think that at least Belichick's coaching can through against goofy Dennis Allen.
You know, if you look at the stats from this previous, I just literally recorded the NFL Week 4 recap video. If you look at the stats between the Saints and the Patriots on offense and defense, they're so similar, at least from last game, because they both suck at QB right now. Derek Carr has not. He was doing well. He started off the season very good and very promising, but now he's just kind of dropping off and not looking as good and as competent in the pocket anymore. The New England Patriots, of course, even sat Mac Jones for Bailey Zappi, who proved to just be as equally incompetent, if not worse, in some cases. Granted, it was against a good team, so I mean, take that as you will. I think I have more hope in the Patriots doing well this season because, again, like you said, they're in Gillette. Bill Belichick's coaching still puts people to work and makes them work for the win. I don't see New Orleans Saints even scoring very well against the Patriots, while I think the Patriots can still win a couple touchdowns or a couple drives. Because I think they still have a lot of talent on that team, and New Orleans Saints defense is not as equipped as I thought it'd be consistently throughout the season. Maybe Alvin Kamara will kind of help turn that around a bit. Who knows? Maybe the run game will work well against New England, but I'm gonna lean Patriots here. Yeah, I think I agree with you there.
Yeah, I just looked it up to just confirm for myself, but last week the defenses in that Patriots Cowboys games Patriots Cowboys, they weren't bad. I mean, looking at the scoreboard, it looks like the Patriots got blown out on both sides of the ball. That's not entirely true. The Patriots defense gave up 10 points. They gave up one touchdown to CeeDee Lamb after Christian Gonzalez got hurt. So the guy who's been covering basically the top receiver for every team and doing it well as a rookie goes down, and CeeDee Lamb on the next play catches a touchdown. Now, fantasy me was very happy about that. Patriots fan me was not. But yeah, giving up 10 points to the Cowboys wasn't terrible. The Cowboys are also the second best defense in the league now. So I got to go with the Patriots because the Patriots are still ranking as the sixth best defense in the league. They look pitiful, but their defense, and it's always been that way. the Patriots defense has always been a pretty solid team. The offense is where the Patriots lack, but against the Saints, I think the Patriots offense will hopefully look better than going up against the Cowboys. So I think they'll handily beat the Saints this week.
So far, a lot
Trust
of
me, it took me a minute to even make that pick because they've screwed me a few weeks in the past, but I did take them.
man. So far, a lot of agreements between us three. This rarely happens, you know. I guess without Traithan here, we just normally, you know, we fight a lot more. He just inspires that the conflict there. Or maybe it's the first bye week, so everybody kind of sucks or everybody looked good. So, you know, take that as you will. Moving on to a game that might divide us, because I'm kind of divided about it. The Tennessee Titans taking on the Indianapolis Colts in a divisional game, of course. Both these teams have a lot of ups and a lot of downs, I think is an easy way to say it. The Titans either have a great game or have a really bad game. It seems like it's been like the first 2 weeks were like bad and good. Last two games have been really like bad and good. So that was a really bad way of describing that. But either way, Titans have either looked really good or really bad, essentially. And the Colts have just looked promising, but like I feel like they're still missing that step to really be something good. Titans defensive, run defense has still been one of the best. They faced off against some good run heavy teams. The Colts, and with Anthony Richardson, if he's healthy, I know like he's been kind of on and off with health issues there. If he's there, I think they can contain him pretty well. I think the Titans can score a lot too. Actually, who's he favored in this game? Out of curiosity, the
Indianapolis should be about 1.5.
Yes, Colts are a 1.5 right here. It is in Indianapolis, so that is the tempting there. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad from both these teams. Offensive line, I believe, is better from the Colts. The defensive line is better from the Titans. The secondaries are pretty even, leaning Titans, I want to say. The offenses are just pretty even overall. I'd say, man, this is tough. I'm going to go Tennessee Titans, though. That's my instinct. And maybe they can kind of get out a divisional win from this. So I'm going to go Titans.
Well, Dawson, I hear everything you have to say to me about that game. And I 100% agree with you. It didn't really take me a second thought. I mean, I know the Bengals have looked pitiful for most of the year, but they just handed Joe Burrow a fat loss. And if you're going up against the Colts now, I know it's a different style quarterback, but it's still a rookie quarterback. I'm taking the Titans over the Colts. It's not that far of a travel distance either. So, you know, I don't think they're going to be too tired going into that game. Titans over Colts.
Can we just keep those sounds you made when explaining that game as sound effects? Can we keep that? Maybe we can go get those and have sound effects.
You know what? I'll sound clip those. I'll sound clip those for you.
To have that as we need that on a soundboard. We need. Yeah. This game, I'm going to go with the Titans against my better instinct. I feel like they kind of perform bad and then perform good and go on that cycle, and this would be the week they would perform bad. But my gosh, the Titans did a lot of better stuff on offense. Really kind of disguising what they were going to do. Came into a lot of 13 personnel and running a lot of I form, really making it look like Henry was going to get the ball. And whether it was after snap action or the formation itself, you know, they were tricking the Bengals and really getting that downfield exposed. And if they keep calling plays like that, getting creative, and still getting to implement Henry into the game, this should be another handy win.
You know, honestly, we should petition for Derrick Henry to be the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, he was 1 for 1,
Hey,
put one touchdown.
More touchdowns than Joe Burrow.
Coincidence? I think not.
He also has more career passing touchdowns than Desmond Ridder, believe it or not.
Yeah, like, 'cause Derrick Henry's done that quite a few times, actually. Like, he's done like 4 times, hasn't he?
He has 6 passing touchdowns in his career.
Good God. Listen, Derrick Henry, you have a different career ahead of you once you're done with your running back days. Wow, I didn't even realize this game was going on, but the next game up is the Baltimore Ravens heading to Pittsburgh against the Steelers. Ryan, this is your turn.
Give me Lamar. Ravens over the Steelers.
Yeah, Um, I know that there's definitely got to be a game that's going to end up a fluke, but it can't be this one. I mean, the Ravens at this point, if I had to redo Super Bowl picks, Ravens would be one that I would be heavily considering as the AFC team to go. They've looked really good to start the season. With Kenny having knee issues, he's probably going to be out for at least a week or two. Um, I really don't see Pittsburgh finding a way around them.
You know, I'm going to instinctively agree with you. The one thing I'm nervous about for the Ravens, and it's not going to hold true for this game, is that their injuries are piling up. Like, their depth is getting weaker and weaker by the week. Luckily, a lot of the starters are still good right now. But, like, they have, like, 10 people on the injury reserve right now. Or, not injury reserve, but somewhere in the injury landscape. I think they have a few on injury reserve, a couple that are questionable and out. But, like, the Ravens are going to start stockpiling their injuries a little bit. The Steelers, obviously, like you said, Kenny, who knows if he's going to be in this week. And then Mitch Trubisky looked fine, but, like, he's just whatever. It is Mitch Trubisky, right, for this one? Yeah, Mitch Trubisky's the secondary starter for this. The Ravens have just been consistently good, and I hate to keep on saying, overall agreement upon us three, but I don't see the Steelers. I used to be a big believer in the Steelers, but then that last game against the Texans really made me believe in the Texans, but also made me believe against the Steelers, so I'm going to go Ravens here in Pittsburgh. But who knows? Mike Tomlin's Mike Tomlin, so, All right, Ben, you have the Carolina Panthers, the winless Carolina Panthers noted here, against the Detroit Lions in Detroit, of course.
Yeah, that game last weekend was really unfortunate. I thought my pick might have actually had some merit there in the first half. I thought I was about to get lucky, but this team, it does look really bad. It's 0-4. I still like them better than the Bears. Their defense is just injured right now. Horn is out. Chin is out. Two big defensive leaders. Bryce Young is young. Play on words. And it's just tough to pick them right now. I feel like the Lions are just going to move past them. Bryce Young and Adam Thielen will probably have a good day and put up a few points, but it'll probably be a sort of track race where Detroit ends up winning by 7 to 10 points.
I really can't see the Panthers going winless longer than the Bears. I really can't. But I don't know. Looking at their schedules, I don't know where Carolina really picks up their victory if it's not against a team like the Lions. And I'm not going to predict Carolina win. I'm going to, at this point, I think we see the two winless teams, and I'm going to definitely go with the Lions in this case. Because, their offense has been good. Low-key, their defense has been better than I guess I've made it out to be on paper. But they have like a top 10-ish defense. Like, I think it's in the top half more so. But the Lions have been low-key good. Of course, Panthers have a lot of potential. Their defense has been struggling a lot, but I can't really take against the Lions in good conscience here, so I'm going to take the Lions. I know they're favored. They're taking a lot of favors here this week, but I think it's just a clear victory here for the Lions.
Yeah, I'm not going to say much else besides the Lions are beating the Panthers. There's not really a shot for the Panthers this week.
Well, with that kind of said, another agreement there. 6 games in a row, guys. Man, we're so original. Moving on.
It's going to be really funny if Trathan does the exact same thing while not being on here.
That would be really funny, honest to God. The Houston Texans going to Atlanta to face off against the Falcons. And
Atlanta.
And I hate you, Ben. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you've over the couple weeks implanted in my brain that the Texans are really good. That they're a low-key good team. And they're facing off against a mediocre, like, lower-tier team. And this makes me want to pick them so freaking badly. Because I've never picked the Texans this year, I don't think. I don't think I've ever made a Texans pick yet. And I'm tempted. And I'm so tempted that I'm going to do it. Because C.J. Stroud has been doing great things. He's facing off against one of the toughest secondaries, I think, one of the toughest secondaries that he's faced off this year with. If they can beat another team, it's going to be against Atlanta, who's kind of a struggling team on offense, and I think the defense is good enough to maybe make them struggle some more. I think this is a game where the Houston Texans, they have a lot of momentum on their side right now. They're confident, and going to Atlanta might not be that bad for them. I think I have to give it to the Texans this week, and I hate it because I love the Texans, but I also know that you're trash historically. But they're doing some special things there. I know we talked about what's called some special things going on with other teams, but like the Texans truly might actually be doing something special. Cardinals, that's another example. Like they may be doing something really special with the Cardinals, but the Texans may be the low key team that actually is improving consistently. Like NFL teams should. And that's kind of a different thing for me. And I'm going to say this, and they're going to get blown out by the Falcons, but I'm going to stick with the Texans this week, and I'll die on that hill.
Well said, Dawson. Houston, this is the only thing that I've ever written a note next to on one of my picks. I have Houston with an arrow going up and Atlanta with an arrow going down. Atlanta has not looked good recently, and the Texans are coming out after the first couple weeks of us trashing on them and everyone trashing on them. I think they have a chip on their shoulder, and they're going, we are not who you think we are. We're moving up in this league. I have the Texans over the Falcons, too. I thought this was going to be the split. I thought you were going to go with the Falcons. I was going to take the Texans, but we are in agreement once again, 7 for 7. Dawson, I'm not letting you come back against me.
I guess not, man.
And I have everything written down. This is not me picking along with everyone else. I have written down every single thing, and I have not changed a single thing. Now, Ben, on the other hand, I don't know.
Ben's just rigging the whole thing.
Sorry about that little interruption. Okay. You went Texans. What did you do?
Texans.
Well, I guess we're going to make it unanimous again because I love the Texans. Give me some C.J. Stroud. He is a great waiver QB pickup this week for you Justin Herbert owners. None of the other buys should be having those quarterbacks unless you're in like a 14 really deep league where you're starting Geno or possibly a 2 QB league where Stroud would already be gone anyway. But yeah, Ritter had a really bad performance. I expect him to bounce back a little bit, but Ritter is just not a very good quarterback, and it's not a very good offense. Arthur Smith is just not a great coach. They're not going to win that game. Houston's going to go in there and get another win. Riding this train until they lose.
Honestly, again, that game against Steelers, I know the Steelers defense is actually a good defense. I'm not going to say they play badly, but they actually showed out against that defense. Now, I'm not going to say anything about the Steelers offense and Texans defense in that regard, but they proved something that game, and so I'll give it to them. Something tells me the trend's not going to continue, or the trend's going to continue with our unanimous votes here with the New York Giants going to Miami to face off against the Dolphins. Shu, you get to do the honor here.
You picking
Fins
the Giants
up, baby.
What'd you say, Ben?
Are you picking the Giants or something? Why is this not going to be unanimous?
No, I'm saying it's continuing the trend, I believe.
Oh, okay.
You said Fins?
Yeah, fins up, baby. Dolphins over Giants.
Yeah, Dolphins. But also for any fantasy owners listening, please don't jump on the A-Chan train. Please don't do that. He got 6 carries last week, and everyone is hyping him up as like a top 20 running back. Do not believe it. Don't believe that. But if you can get a wide receiver 2 or RB2 for him, definitely go for it.
Fair enough. I think this is a game that's a classic example of the Dolphins. They got kind of humbled a little bit. Like, if you see, the Dolphins didn't perform bad. Like, they didn't perform bad. That's number one I want to state right here, is that they didn't perform bad. They just did not keep up with the Bills, who are just showcasing they are a really overall solid team. On offense, they can be explosive. The defense shut down the receivers from the Dolphins. And I don't think it's necessarily they had a bad game. It's just they faced off against a good opponent. That's a divisional game away. And they're back at home against the New York Giants. They're coming down to, warmer weather. They've been struggling anyway. They haven't been able to defend any points at all. The only team they really put up points against was the Cardinals. I think this is a pretty good bounce-back game for the Dolphins to continue on a good record trends. Dolphins easy. Then moving on to the Bengals at the Cardinals. Holy crap. I did not know this game was going on this week, and that's... Wow. Ben, start us off with this.
I heard some advanced metrics were saying Josh Dobbs is actually getting a little bit lucky as far as like his deep ball placement is actually really bad. He's really inaccurate on the deep ball. It is a little concerning.
Huh.
But with that same thing being said, I can't trust Joe Burrow at this moment. He evidently has forgotten how to throw a football. I don't know what's going on. So until he figures out how to throw a football and they win, I'm riding against them every week.
Man, this is a tough one. Correct me, it was the Ravens they beat, right? 27-24?
The Bengals lost to the Ravens. They beat the Steelers.
Steelers.
Yes, they beat the Steelers.
So they lost against the Ravens. They lost against the
Browns.
Browns. All divisional games in that regard. Who's the one non-divisional game they had? First week. Who'd you say?
They lost to the Titans, who was non-divisional.
Titans.
So I'd make them 1-3.
And who's favored? Bengals, I'm gonna
And
guess.
I mean, the Titans secondary is just awful.
Wow, this should never be a line. -3 for the Bengals this game. Like the fact that the Bengals used to be one of the best teams in the
Hammer
NFL. So you shot hammer the -3, even though you just said you picked the Cardinals here.
In the opposite way.
Listen, he's got to bounce back eventually. They got to do it. And if there's a team they got to do it against, it's got to be the Cardinals, right? I can't pick the Cardinals. Who I'm going to go Bengals. This is what time out.
Time out.
All
We're
right.
just gonna have to edit these next like 20 seconds out.
Okay, you're good. We're coming back. Sorry, Ben had to move, and now he's in worse lighting. So I don't know if I'll do anything about that in editing. But oh well, it's fine. He brought a guest, so it's fine. Kind of going back, the Bengals and Cardinals. Sweet Nash, Ellie Mae. Aw.
Browns all the way is what she says.
I'm gonna go Bengals here. I everything in my gut's telling me I shouldn't, but I can't pick the Cardinals, who are just a overall worse team, like layout wise. Coaching still new. The Bengals are an established team who are struggling a ton. This should be a game they have a lot easier of a time with. I'm probably gonna regret it. I'm okay with that. I'm picking the Bengals. So the first disagreement is the Bengals Cardinals.
Yeah, major disagreement there because I'm taking the Cardinals over the Bengals. Joe Burrow is not healthy right now, and Zach Taylor is only making it worse. You're getting blown out by the Titans, and you leave Joe Burrow in there to get hit and make him throw more. Put in your backup at that point. You've already lost. He's not helping you come back. He's hurt. I'm taking the Cardinals this week. And I will say it because Trayton is not here. Josh Dobbs is a genius. Aerospace engineer.
Oh, last time I bet against the Cardinals. Flashbacks.
Just don't make it a lock this time, and you'll be okay.
I'm not locking it now.
You know,
The further down the line we get, the less you need to make locks where you're going to pour ice water on yourself, because it's only going to get worse from here on out.
yeah.
It's true.
And we will reestablish me and Gerb's bet next week. Me and Trayton's bet will be settled up next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so of course, Trayton could join us. We'll make him settle another time, but we're gonna let him get through what he needs to. We love Trayton. Bless up for him. Taylor also didn't come back because he was so ashamed of his picks last week. No, I'm just kidding. I think he went 9-7, so he'd be at the bottom of the leaderboard if anybody wants to keep up with that. But
Above 500, but
yeah, barely.
that was our minimum. You had to pick 500 or better, otherwise you weren't coming back. You made that, but
I guess we could have done a funny joke and say Ben got to keep his job this week, but
Ben did get to keep his job this week.
Which, by the way, Ben and I did go 12-4. We had a pretty good bounce back week this week, so pretty good. Beside the point, so disagreements there. I picked the Bengals. Y'all picked the Cardinals. We'll see. I don't know. I can see the Cardinals winning that one. Moving on to Los Angeles, where the Rams are hosting the Philadelphia Eagles, the undefeated undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. I forgot who started us off this last time. I think it was Ben. So is it me?
Sure.
Did you have me down for the Bengals?
No, I had you Cardinals.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is me this turn. Eagles and Rams. I'm just gonna keep it simple. Rams have looked really good. I'm gonna give them their credit here, but the Eagles are undefeated, and they just consistently look good. Their tush push always solidifies the end zone all the time. The Rams defense is weaker. The Rams offense. I will love to see when the Rams are all on offense against this defense. I will say that. Because I love the Rams offense right now. It's actually really fun to watch. I didn't really watch many drives like intensely with the Rams lately, but this last week I kind of did, and they look a lot of fun to watch now on offense. So I'm actually very curious how they do against the Eagles defense, but I think the Eagles are going to maintain a good undefeated streak for at least a little bit longer. They could drop a game like this, but I think they'll go 5-6-0 and then kind of go from there. So I'm going to give the Eagles.
The tush push, the Philly special. Eagles are beating the Rams this week. Is Bosa still out? He was out last game too.
Question.
I don't think there's a Bosa that plays for them.
Well, yeah. Are you talking about?
Oh, I was thinking Chargers. Never mind. I'm stupid.
Or
I was thinking LA and I goofed.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
My bad.
Los Angeles Rams.
Still taking the Eagles. I don't care.
Trap game. Give me the trap game. I love picking a good trap game.
Ooh.
I think this might be the perfect environment for this. Give me the Rams. I think Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua gonna cook up something special. Or the Philly special kind of stumbled a little bit last week against Washington. Give me the Rams this week.
I respect the pick a lot. I'll be honest. I do respect it. I don't know if I necessarily describe it as a trap game because they're both decent team, or the Rams are a decent team, but I guess it is a trap game in some sense, huh?
Well, for the Phillies being so good, I mean, I don't think anybody would put them outside of top 2. Definitely not putting them outside of top 3.
Okay, fair enough. Fair point. Then we'll move on to the next game, which luckily I'm going last for because I don't even know what to think anymore about either one of these teams, especially one of them. The New York Jets are going to Denver, to Mile High. Shu, what are your thoughts here?
The Jets are miles above Mile High. The Jets are taking down the Broncos this week.
Oh, something inside me feels weird about this game. It really makes me want to pick Denver, but I just can't do it. I can't trust them. I don't. Something weird is going on inside where I feel like that defense does have a chance of shutting down Zach Wilson. And I mean, they did. I don't know. Something feels weird, but Wilson did have a really good performance to start out last week. I think he'll play fully that way this week. I think the Jets should take it.
So far, I have always picked the Broncos to win. I have picked the Broncos the last 4 times. And judging by their record, I am 1-3 in doing that. And, you know, I really thought to myself, do I want to keep on being that person? And the Broncos have a weaker schedule. Maybe they can get these wins against some of these other teams who are kind of on the weaker echelon of things. And frankly, and to the point, I love what the offense is doing with the Broncos. I really do. I think there's a lot of potential with that offense, but Zach Wilson doing as well against the Chiefs. And honestly, they probably should have won. That's a whole conspiracy theory I'm not going to get into. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but that game was probably one of the weirdest games I've watched in recent times. Jets probably should have won that game. Zach Wilson looked actually really decent against a decent Chiefs defense. I'm not going to say Chiefs defense is a top-of-tier team, but they're a solid defense. And the Broncos on defense still haven't figured it out. I mean, they definitely didn't figure it out against the Bears. You'd like to think the confidence of the Sean Payton and that whole coaching staff is, hey, by the way, we're going to bounce back. I don't see that against the Jets. Jets defense is really good, so the offense of the Broncos are going to struggle. I think the Jets match up well against the Broncos in that regard because the run game is weaker with the Broncos. I think they'll be able to stuff that up. Russell Wilson, I think they could easily cover with, you know, he has a bunch of weapons, I guess, or a bunch of, like, mediocre weapons that they're all kind of the same tier almost, where maybe it'll make the Jets secondary a little bit more confused in who to guard because there's no clear weapon except for maybe you can argue Cortland Sutton, maybe, and Jerry Jeudy, I guess, maybe. But both those are big maybes depending on the game. I'm going to go with the New York Jets. I got to go against the Broncos here. Something doesn't feel right, but also haven't picked many upsets, and Jets are technically an upset this week. So if there's a game I'm going to be an upset for, it was either this or the Bengals. So I'm going to go Jets here. Moving on to the last set of 3 games. The Chiefs going to Minnesota against the Vikings. A very unfortunate game for the Vikings, finally getting their first win and then now facing off against one of the best teams in the league. Ben, what do you think?
I think that the Vikings might somehow be one of the worst teams in the league. I do not understand how they are this bad. They're awful. I'm not even going to think about taking them against the Chiefs. Care how good the offense is at this point. They have some internal problems. That is evident at this point. They have got some internal problems. What is going on inside the locker room? Something's going on. I'm not taking them. That is not a good team. I'm going to take this.
Yeah, I don't think we see many bad games back to back for Patrick Mahomes, which I'm very fortunate about because in one fantasy league that Ben and I are in, I'm now 4-0 thanks to Patrick Mahomes having one bad game of his career. Obviously, that's a little bit of over exaggeration, but I don't see Patrick Mahomes having 2 bad games in a row, especially against a weaker defense. Sure, the Vikings can keep up offensively if they have a good game, but the Chiefs we've seen them match up to other teams before. Give me the Chiefs. Plus, Taylor Swift is there. She's going to have some magic or something. She's going to pay off one of the refs or something, so we're going to be fine.
No, please. Come on. We got to stay away from that. No, let's not have every NFL outlet in the world talking about her.
It's fair. Valid.
Stay away.
Valid. That's all my comment in.
And the trend continues. Of not all picking the same, the Vikings are beating the Chiefs this week.
Ooh, I like it.
The Vikings are beating the Chiefs this week.
What's the reason?
I think Taylor Swift is just not all that. There's a blank space in her brain, as well as yours, if you think that the Vikings are losing this week.
Dang.
Clip that and play it during next week's video whenever
You know, Shu, do you want to make that your lock? Oh, I'm curious. Do you want to make that your lock of the week?
No, I'm not crazy. I avoided the ice bucket in a close bet. I'm not taking it on this random pick that I'm just doing because Taylor Swift is not magic.
Oh, it's magic. Copyrighted. Never believe it's not so. Anyway, beside the point. Well, moving on to an actually fun and interesting game. The Cowboys going to San Francisco against the 49ers, 2 of the top teams. Honestly, at one point, were pretty much 1-3 for me. The Cowboys and the 49ers, fun-ass game. But really, in hindsight, looking at it, the 49ers are in a whole different league of their own right now. Like, what? Actually, now that I think about it, have they had a close game? They destroyed the Cardinals. They destroyed the Giants. I consider about 3 scores destroyed, by the way. Okay, Rams. They had a 1-score game, 7 points total.
Yeah, that was really a 10-point game. If
Agreed.
Sean McVay was not bought by the sports books.
I'll agree on that one. And then they destroyed the Steelers. I'm not going to say they're going to destroy the Cowboys, but like they just have the 49ers are just a whole nother level. CMC scored 4 touchdowns last week. That's fucking nuts. Now, I'm going to be very curious to see how this is the real test for Brock Purdy. I'll be honest, I'm really excited for this game for a lot of the implications this game has. I still think the 49ers easily win it because the 49ers have so many people they can throw to that the defense of the Cowboys, the only thing that they can do is put pressure on Brock Purdy. And even then, the weakest aspect of this team is probably the O-line for the 49ers, I probably would say. Maybe, I'm going to say the O-line. It's probably my instinct. But, like, even then, it's a solid-ass O-line. I'm going to give it the 49ers. I don't see the Cowboys scoring a bunch of defensive points on the 49ers. If they do, maybe like a forced fumble into a touchdown, maybe one thing. But like the offense of the Cowboys will actually have to step up and do something. And Dak is just a good quarterback. It's just a good quarterback this year. He does what he needs
That's
to do.
generous.
What do you say?
I said that's generous.
Well, he hasn't thrown a bunch of picks yet. I mean, he's just consistently gotten a touchdown,
Yeah.
gotten yardage. He's just gotten 200 plus yards a game with a touchdown, a couple picks here and there. He's done decent.
That guy, he's just the definition of average.
That's fair. No, I
He's
give him
like-
above average.
He's like the most. If you could think of someone who would play for like 12 seasons in the league, but doesn't make the Hall of Fame because they've just been average their whole career, that is Dak Prescott. That is Dak Prescott.
Yeah, no, that's it's valid. I think he deserves a little bit of credit, but I do agree with you overall on that. Either way, give me the 49ers. I'm going to keep it kind of shorter now.
MV Purdy, 49ers.
Yeah. 49ers. Let's hope for a great game out of Brandon Ayuk. Let's get some fantasy points.
Moving on to our last game of the week, we have the Green Bay Packers facing off against the Las Vegas Raiders. Lots to prove from both these teams, I believe. Shu, what are your thoughts?
Go Pack, go.
Ooh. Simple.
Yeah. The Jordan Love seems to really play well whenever he's against average or below defenses, and that's what the Raiders have. Kind of expecting a big game out of Jordan Love. Maybe not a huge game, but a good game. Not some of these lesser performances he's been having. I think it could definitely be high scoring. Josh Jacobs is kind of hitting his stride again, week 4, just like last year. So I would expect another big game out of Josh Jacobs this week. Let's see if he makes a carbon copy of last season.
So I just did look up.
Packers.
Oh, you got Packs.
Yeah, Packers. I did not clarify.
Thank you for that. I think if Jimmy G was actually confirmed to be in, I think I'd consider taking the Raiders more, just because Jordan Love's been playing good. I think he's had a really up game, but against a bad team in the Bears. I think he had some really down games against some better teams. He's kept it close against teams of similar stature. I think the Raiders are kind of a better team than I guess I've given them credit for. Of course, I don't like the Raiders, period. I don't like the organization in general, but they've been proving to do all right, except against really elite teams. I'm going to give it to the Packers. I'm not going to bet against the Packers here, but if Jimmy G was definitely in, which he's not confirmed yet, he's still in concussion protocol, I'd consider it more. But if any chance of the backup being in, I definitely would give the Packers defense a lot of credit there. Josh Jacobs has been doing a lot better, so I think he'll have a better game. I think he's going to keep on trending up in this game, but I'm going to give it to the Packers. And that concludes. It's a little bit shorter video in terms of the amount of picks we made, and there's less of us here. It's actually within like 40 minutes or something at this time. Overall, again, some just overall thoughts and examples here are expect hopefully Traithan and Taylor join us next week as we're kind of recovering. It's a weirder week for all of us here, so it's gonna be a recording. It's kind of been a little bit more dragged. The power rankings are probably gonna look a little different as well this week, just because all of us are kind of going through some different aspects that kind of keeping us slowed down. So hopefully we get back to it next week in full force to enjoy the rest of the season. Again, this is the first bye weeks too, so we're going to see a lot more of shorter term videos here. We'll see how everybody stacks up. Also, I feel like bye weeks start kind of the trend of like, now that we're past the first quarter, we have a trend of certain teams are better than others. And so we're going to have more consistently same teams, aside from a pick here or pick there. So we'll see how that goes going forward. But boys, you have any final thoughts?
Yep.
Right.
Perfect. Of course, guys, be tuning in on Mondays for the new series for the quarterly review of each of the cardinal directions of AFC, NFC North. This previous Monday. Otherwise, guys, StraightA Dawson out.